Nestled within the Caucasus region is the beautiful country of Armenia, filled with so many amazing sites and historic areas. But first, we have to get there, which apparently isn't super easy. Because we're starting in Tbilisi, Georgia, flights are infrequent and very expensive, and the usual train doesn't run during summer. So we've opted to hire a driver to make the 6-hour journey from Tbilisi to Yerevan. But while it's going to take us a little while, this also gives us an opportunity to see a part of the country that very few ever make it to. So let's hit the road.
I'm Alexa.
And I'm Jeff.
Together, we're exploring the history and geography of the world one place at a time.
All right, guys, it is very early in the morning, but we have a very long day of driving to get to Yerevan from Tbilisi here. And I realize, we've been in Tbilisi for quite a few days now, but you guys haven't actually seen where we have been living this whole time. So first, I'm going to start some coffee and tea, and then I'll give you guys a brief tour because this is actually one of the coolest places we've stayed in all of our travels. All right, so first things first. We're here in the kitchen where I'm making some tea and coffee on this little water boiler. This is, without a doubt, the largest kitchen we've ever had. So full-size fridge, 4-burner stove, which most, if you've stayed in a lot of hotels or Airbnbs with kitchenettes, have at most 2. Full sink, couch out here, TV, and then just a really nice view of Tbilisi. Well, not really a view of Tbilisi, but the street out in front. Again, this is one of the nicest and probably biggest places we've ever stayed in. So we go down here and we have this really nice shower room. So there's the shower and then there's like a sink over here. It's not where the toilet is though, because that's in a whole separate room. I don't know why. And sorry, Alexa, she's over here getting ready. She's in the bathroom, another sink, a mirror, and then obviously the toilet and a little washing machine. So this is the west wing of the house because there's a whole other part of this place.
What the hell are you talking about?
We walk down the hallway just a little bit. We get to the room. This is obviously where I woke up this morning. Again, another TV. Sorry for the mess, guys. We are getting packed this morning because, again, we have a long day of travel. And then if we go down here, we have the east wing. So we have this massive room with one really pretty chandelier up here. This is where we've been sort of relaxing and resting after a long day of working or filming. Another nice big TV. And these windows are just huge. Oh, and we didn't use it because it's summer, but that's a working fireplace right there. We're not in a house. This is an old town apartment, but it's massive. I'm gonna miss it. I don't know if Yerevan is gonna be quite as nice as this. There's a table that Alexa was working on most of this week. Normally, we're like crammed into these very tiny rooms or apartments where we sort of work and crawl all over each other. And this time it's kind of like I had my area of the house and Alexa had her area of the house and we barely saw each other.
Goodbye, my lover. Goodbye, my friend.
All right, I'm gonna finish making coffee and tea and then we're gonna get packed up and head down to Yerevan. I just wanna point out that I've been ready for about an hour now. Alexa, with just 5 minutes to go, just now finishing up getting packed. We have very different styles of getting ready in the morning. And we're on the road. We're saying goodbye to Tbilisi and heading straight for Yerevan. Goodbye, Tbilisi. We'll miss it.
Yeah.
We're expecting a 6-hour journey today, but our first big stop is Georgian border control.
Here we go again.
We're traveling between 2 neighbors here in the Caucasus, Georgia and Armenia. Now, both countries share a complicated past, especially after emerging from the Soviet Union when relations were pretty tense. But that's really starting to change. Today, their relationship is getting stronger, with Armenia even backing Georgia in key UN resolutions.
It makes this border crossing feel less like a hostile dividing line and more like something you would expect between two friendly countries, which means it's actually pretty easy to cross.
We have officially made it to the passport check here. There's still a lot more to show you guys, but I kind of wanted to get this out of the way as quickly as possible, which is why we're here. Only about an hour after we took off, but no more cameras, so see you on the other side.
A few minutes later.
Made it out of Georgia. But we still got to get through Armenia, get through into Armenia. I couldn't resist.
It's early. We need a snack.
Yes, we have not had breakfast. All right, now we are off to see some of the sights of Armenia. Like I said, I kind of wanted to get this over with as quickly as possible. There's something about land borders that just make me nervous.
Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious.
Being able to get this over with early in the morning, huge weight off my mind. Bye, Georgia.
Our road to Yerevan cuts right through the Lori province, our starting point in Armenia. The landscape here is incredible, full of rugged gorges carved out by the Tibet River and surrounded by deep green forests. And this area is also steeped in history, with settlements that date back thousands of years. So, our first stop in Armenia, to explore some of the ancient monasteries that put this region on the map. We've made it to Akhtala Monastery, which is our first stop now that we're in Armenia. That brings us to why did we do this transfer? And one, it was a lot easier to just drive from Tbilisi to Yerevan. We found that flights were either non-existent or really expensive. There is sometimes a train, but it only runs certain times of the year, and I guess it's not during summer. So we decided to do a transfer, but this transfer has 3 different stops in Armenia, and we chose to stop with 3 different monasteries. And that's because we're in a place where we know that we're not going to get to come back to while we're in Armenia. We have some really fun and exciting things planned, but we're not going to make it up to the Lori province, which is where we are right now. And I must say, we're here early. There aren't that many people here. So far, we've only seen 2, and it's really beautiful.
I mean, this is so incredibly beautiful, this monastery right behind me, but it almost like pales in comparison to the view of the mountains that sort of surround and blanket the monastery. Everywhere around is just like this really epic view. It's kind of weird because there's also across the way, there's like these, they look like they're still in use, but old Soviet era factories of sorts. And so you kind of hear this drumming of like industry going, but they're just kind of built right into the mountainside. And then across the way, which is where we're at, is this ancient monastery that just looks so majestic and old. It's very cool. All right, while we're here, I can't help but bring up a fun fact. We are here in the Lesser Caucasus Mountains, which is this big old mountain range behind me. And we're in the entire region called the Caucasus. What does that word make you think?
I don't know if I'm allowed to say it on...
We're all thinking it, aren't we? I'm not. Okay? Yes, we're all thinking it, right?
Well, it's not that. No, it's the word Caucasian.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
That's what she meant. No, this is the region from which the word Caucasian originated from, the Caucasus region. And Caucasian is actually kind of an outdated, older word that's not really grounded in any sort of actual race science. But it is still a word that's widely used in, well, the United States, as well as many other Western European countries, to delineate people who are of European, North African, or Middle Eastern origin. And I feel like that's such an apt word because the Caucasus region really does encapsulate all 3 of those regions in one small, tiny area. We saw the bigger Caucasus when we were at our wine tour, so go back and watch that video if you haven't yet.
Our first stop is the Akhtala Monastery, and this place is incredible. It dates all the way back to the 10th century, and it wasn't just for worship. It was a full-on fortress that guarded this entire region of Armenia. The amazing part is how well preserved it is. Walking around the walls, the views of the Green Mountains are stunning, but the real adventure is inside.
So there's, just on the grounds here, there's these holes in the ground. And if you look down, you can actually see that this used to be some sort of room of sorts, probably a cellar, maybe for like wine. It's very deep. I'm not going to try and jump in, but what I am going to do is I'm going to try and see if I can find a way in around here because it looks like we can actually go down some stairs and check it out.
Oh, whew, a little slippery.
I still don't quite know what it is. Aside from that, it was likely something that was used to keep things cool. It has like the makings of like a utilitarian storage rather than anything livable. The door is just sort of hobbled into the bricks. And again, I love it when I'm just able to climb around and look into things. Just in case you're unaware, the Armenian flag right there. Proof that we made it. This place is truly phenomenal. And we've seen the monastery a little bit, looked at the mountains sort of across the way, the Lesser Caucasus. There's just one other thing that I really want to see while we're here. From this side, you can actually see it's not just a gate, it's a tower. And once again, it looks like I can go crawling through it. So once again, I'm gonna have to go show you guys what it's like. Another life, I would have been Indiana Jones. Here is more storage of sorts. Looks like they got some wood stuff stacked up back here. It's not quite as underground as the other place, so I'm guessing this is not meant to be a cooling area necessarily, rather just storage. And clearly from the looks of it, they have a lot of hay here, which makes sense. It's quite cloudy and maybe it gets a lot of rain up here, so you might want to keep that dry. But now to the tower. Look at these perfect archways here, considering when this was built. I couldn't do that now. Unfortunately, my Indiana Jones period is over, at least for this monastery.
Akhtala was an incredible start to our journey in Armenia, but the Lori province has even more to show us. So, we're back on the road, and honestly, the drive itself is a huge part of the experience. We're just winding our way through these beautiful rolling hills and passing through charming Armenian towns, which can still feel very Soviet. We've made it to our second stop, and once again, absolutely beautiful. We're in the mountains, like at the top, but we are at Haghpat Monastery, a UNESCO World Heritage site. Its sister site is our next stop, so we'll talk about that in a bit. But what's really cool about this is it was not just a monastery of the 10th and 11th centuries, but also an academic and science center. Apparently there were a lot of documents and books and whatnot that were found, well, obviously much later.
Very obviously. I didn't fully know what to expect for our drive down to Yerevan. I mean, I knew we were gonna make some stops at some monasteries, and I looked at pictures, of course, but pictures just don't do this justice. Honestly, the video's not even doing it justice, I bet.
We've just arrived at Haghpat Monastery, and you can immediately see why they built it here. It's perched right on top of a mountain with this incredible view overlooking the Tbilisi River, the perfect defensive position. The complex itself is amazing to walk through. We're seeing a small domed church and a library, but the most incredible part? This place has survived centuries of attacks and earthquakes, and somehow, most of what we're looking at is still the original structure.
It's so cool that you can just walk around here. There's like so much detail, there's carvings in the walls, there's these thingies.
Love the thingies.
This was their book depository, their library. This is pretty. I think there are bats in here. I have an irrational fear of bats. I can feel it all over my body.
So, I don't think Alexa's gonna join me, but I don't see bats. It is very echoey in here though. This is the book depository, but also there's these holes in the ground. And if I learned anything from my wine journey last week, it's that these would be where they would ferment wine, because they're clay pots. But I'm not really sure if that's the case at all. I mean, this is all built 1,000 years ago. So incredibly, epically cool. How you doing, Alexa?
Staying in the sunlight.
If you guys remember from our Khao Yai adventure, you'll remember, and Alexa should remember as well, that bats can live in the daylight.
Oh my god. Stop it, stop it, stop it.
They're not exclusive to dark caves. Incredible how old this place is, how empty it is. I mean, there are other tourists. There's more tourists at this one than there were at the last one, but still not a lot. We're allowed to just sort of walk in and climb up and touch things. Big fan of Armenia. Big fan.
All right, back in safety.
I love a good bat scare. Now, this is all very beautiful and interesting, but if you look way behind me, there's a town that's sort of on this flat top that is just so fascinating to me because I have no idea how it got there. This is like a whole canyon away, and I don't think there's any bridges. I don't even see any roads, if I'm being honest. So I don't know if you guys can hear them, but there actually are bats in this one.
No.
As much as we'd love to stay at Haghpat all day, we have to move on to our next stop, Sanahin Monastery. And there's a special reason we're visiting both. Together, they actually form a single UNESCO World Heritage site. So you can't truly experience one without seeing the other.
And we have reached our third and unfortunately final monastery. I don't think you can hear it, but there's some like monasterial chanting going on. It means this is very much an active monastery, which I don't think the last one was active, at least not fully active.
You can literally see plants growing out of the walls.
Alexa, do you think there are bats here?
Don't put that energy out there.
This place has big bat energy. No, the last place had big bat energy. I don't see anything. We're clear on bats. There's a service here, so I'm whispering, but the vibe in here, very gothic, very cool.
Exploring Sanahin Monastery, you can instantly see why this is a UNESCO site. Like Haghpat, it's from the 10th century. But this place was also a major academy, a center for learning. It even had a library, and get this, what's believed to be the very first bookstore in Armenia was right here. Obviously, it's not selling books anymore, but it's incredible to imagine. As we walk through, we're finding these ancient tombs everywhere, covered in stunning and intricate Armenian crosses.
We're still right next to the service, which is why I'm trying to speak so low. While we don't understand what they're saying, it is like very beautiful sounding. It just gives this kind of nice atmosphere as we're walking around these ancient ruins of a monastery.
Neither of us are religious, and yet we've been to 3 monasteries today.
All before noon.
All before noon, yes. Each of these places have had such like a very calming atmosphere. And yeah, like Alexa said, with the chanting, almost like lowers my heart rate a little bit.
Yeah. I'm excited for Armenia. We're just getting started here.
Is that bad?
Is he sirs? He ain't sirs.
Okay, well, I guess I'm not that excited.
I've said this at each of the monasteries, but this view, stunning. And this video is not going to do it justice.
Absolutely not.
Now this concludes our 3 monasteries here in northern Armenia for the day. But because we showed you our apartment in Tbilisi, and because we're going to Yerevan right now, I feel like we'll just go ahead and show you a little bit of what Yerevan's like and where we're staying there. The journey continues.
With Sanahin explored, we thought we were finally on the home stretch to Yerevan. But our driver George had one more idea.
One more stop, actually. A museum or a monument of sorts. MiG-21. Very cool. Very spontaneous stop, too. I love it. Don't honestly think I've ever been this close to any sort of fighter jet before. You can actually get up close and touch it. Unbelievable.
So this is really cool. One thing we're going to see a lot of, and we've already seen a lot of driving through the small bit of Armenia that we have, is that the Soviet Union had a lot of influence on Armenia. But what is not talked about is how Armenia had a huge influence in the Soviet Union. And this is a great example. There were 2 brothers that were born here, and they were the engineers of this jet. And it changed really the history of the Soviet Union, but also the world in this type of technology.
I never would have guessed that the MiG jet was invented here in Armenia. I mean, the MiG is such an icon for the Soviet Union. I'm not going to stand on it because it doesn't look that sturdy, but just being able to touch things like this, unbelievable. I can honestly say I've never looked inside of a jet engine before. And it's really just kind of like a big tube. But that's where the magic happens, baby. What an incredible stop. And this was totally at the whim of our driver.
Yeah, thank you, George.
Thank you, George. Now it's off to Yerevan. Maybe. We'll see.
We'll see what else comes up. That last-minute detour was amazing, but it was finally time to make a beeline for Yerevan. The final stretch of the drive was an adventure unto itself. From waiting for the local traffic to cross the road, to watching the lush green hills of Lori slowly give way to the dry, dramatic landscapes surrounding the capital.
Well, well, well. How the turntables.
Very beautiful. We're about an hour outside of Yerevan right now, and we're just driving through this incredibly beautiful area. The Lori region is called. And so our driver was like, we can stop. It's a good viewpoint. Oh man, is it a good viewpoint? Like, this is just unbelievably majestic. Armenia, you are blowing me away. And for reference, we are about 2,000 meters up right now. And we came from all the way down there, the valley. Also, if you can't tell, it's quite windy and actually really cold.
After a long day on the road, we have finally made it to Yerevan, the capital of Armenia. We just said our goodbyes to George, our amazing driver, and now it's time to check in, drop our bags, and get ready to explore more of Armenia.
All right, we have officially made it into our place here in Yerevan, and I promised that we'd show you guys what it's like because we started with a tour. We'll end with a tour. So, again, a really nice big kitchen. The Caucasus have big kitchens. And of course, here's the living room. Lovely view. Oh. Following Alexa into the room. Beautiful room. Some nice big closets. Another good view. It's actually probably one of the more modern places we've actually stayed in. And then finally, the bathroom. Yeah, it's a bathroom. I don't know. It looks like a bathroom. What more can you say? Has a toilet, has a sink, has a shower. And that is the tour of our hotel here in Yerevan, where we'll be for 3 nights.
It's been quite the journey. We really enjoyed Georgia, but we're so excited to be in Armenia.
And it's always nice when we can have a travel day that's also an episode. Actually takes a little bit of the workload off of us because we're already traveling anyways. And you guys got to experience a very different kind of journey today. Something that I don't think a lot of people do. If you can't tell, I'm pretty tired.
I'm tired of this, Grandpa.
That's too damn bad!
Next week, we are traveling to Dilijan National Park here in Armenia.
We're gonna glamp. We don't camp, we glamp. As usual, come back next week.
For another adventure. See you then.
Alexa, join me. This isn't a trap at all. To lure you into a bat cave.
Let's hope they don't make any noise.
We are making noises.
No, it's a bat.
Oh. Can you hold this?
Yep.
It's recording still. Episode over.